right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Free. I'm Ryan. I'm the lead pastor and executive director here. This is Carrie. She is the associate executive director here. So good to be with you all tonight. And for those of you joining us online, welcome to Free. We're glad you're here. We're glad you're part of this community, whatever state, whatever treatment center, sober living home, or living room, or wherever you are. We're just glad you're here, part of the community. Just to give you a reminder, this is a community for addicts, loved ones of addicts, and spiritual refugees. And what we do here is break the silence of addiction while creating space for healing, recovery, and spiritual connection. And there's always one thing we don't do in this community. You can shout it out on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. We don't do shame, but Carrie's got some things for you that you must know about.
Welcome. If tonight is your first night, we are glad that you're here. We would love to connect with you after service. Just outside of these doors, come find one of us or one of our volunteers, and we'll get you connected with one of our welcome bags. Inside the welcome bags, you'll find some free swag, some wagon coffee, as well as a meeting schedule. And if you flip that meeting schedule over, you'll see a QR code. That QR code, if you scan that, it'll get you connected to all of our different resources, including our app, a real-time meeting schedule, so if anything had changed on the front of that, all of our activities throughout the week, the month, and most importantly, our newsletter. You guys can sign up for our newsletter, so you'll find out each week who our guest storyteller is and all the different events we have coming up this specific week. For example, you guys are going to be super excited with our guest storyteller tonight. You're going to learn more about this film, but it's the premiere here in Colorado. Trust me, you're going to want to get tickets after you hear the guest storyteller. It is a $10 ticket. This is happening here tomorrow. It's the Together Family Recovery. I will not do it justice, so I'm going to go ahead and wait to let the professionals handle it for the guest storyteller.
And if finances are an issue for anyone, there's a code. I put it on our Facebook page and our Instagram page. Was that yesterday, 2 days ago, 3 days? I don't know, sometime in the last 36 hours. So if you need that code, it's on there.
Yes, and you also, if you have any questions, you can email Ben at freerecoverycommunity.com or myself, Carrie at freerecoverycommunity.com, and we can get you whatever questions. But doors open tomorrow at 12:30, and the cafe will be open.
Yes.
And I think that was it. You're going to handle the next one, right?
Yeah, okay, thank you, Carrie.
You're welcome.
I want to let you all know, I mentioned it last week, but now we forgot to mention baptisms. I'll mention it. Next week, we're doing baptisms in the wagon. We have 10 people getting baptized, and I realize some of you here, you might say, well, you got to understand, that's just not my thing. Okay, it's not your thing, but it is their thing, and as a community, we get to support each other, so I would highly encourage you to come next week. I'll still give a message, but then the baptisms take the place of the guest storyteller, so they are our guest storytellers. We're going to fill up the wagon with water and do some dunkings in the wagon, and it's a beautiful time. Carrie, isn't it one of your favorite services? It's one of Carrie's favorites. Talk to her afterwards. And there's going to be cake afterwards. So if cake is your thing, come on, this is a community of addicts and alcoholics. I know y'all love sugar. If cake is your thing, there's going to be homemade cakes right out there. So I highly encourage you to come. Okay. The next one is American Addict. Jennifer, just stand up so people can see you. I had you do the same thing last week. Jennifer is a playwright, and she has a theater company called Vision Box. She has written this play. When did you write this play? How long ago was it?
It's about 3 years ago.
3 years ago, but it has, transformed along the way, and it keeps being added to. It's a beautiful play. It's going to be here on May 17th and 18th. You can get tickets by going to visionbox.org. Get your tickets. That's May 17th and 18th, here, 7 p.m. That's a Sunday night and Monday night. This has everything to do with our community, and it truly, this is like right up our alley. Y'all are going to love this one. And as Jennifer mentioned last week, I have the privilege of actually having a role in this play. It's a small role, but I have a role in it, and I'm looking forward to it. So I hope you come out and support it. It's for a good cause. Anyway, you'll hear us talk about it in the weeks to come, but it's going to be very good. Please come. All right, is that it? I think that's it. All right, y'all, the way we get started in this community on a Saturday night is with celebrations. We start with the good. We lift up the good. Maybe you're here and you're celebrating a sobriety anniversary or a birthday or whatever the new thing in your life or recovery is. We celebrate it all here. We take 3 minutes for this. Carrie will have a mic on this side. Sue will have a mic on this side. If you're joining us online, drop your celebrations in the YouTube comments or the Facebook comments, and we're going to join with you there. This 3 minutes is yours.
Hi, my name is Jennifer. Today I have 820 days sober. And
Right, Jennifer. Oh, there's more. There's more.
There is more. After struggling with my relationship with God for the last, basically my whole life, I'm getting baptized next weekend.
Yeah. Woo-woo! Can't wait.
My name is Weston, and I just wanted to celebrate that we are putting on American Addict. I went and saw it last year, and 1 month after, I became sober. So I just want to celebrate.
There you go. So it made an impact. Yeah, we'll celebrate that, Weston. Beautiful.
I'm Sarah, and I'm 28 days clean today.
All right, Sarah. Happy 28 days.
Hey everybody, I'm Ben, and I wanted to celebrate my daughter Madison. She got to perform in the Shakespeare Festival downtown yesterday, and she did amazing. So a round of applause for Madison. Thanks.
Way to go, Madison.
My name is Chance.
Chance, what do you do here?
I am the tech team lead here,
Okay.
along with Matthew in the back here. This is always my favorite week of the year. Tuesday, my wife celebrated 3 years, and today I celebrate 5.
Way to go, Chance and Katie. Glad you're here, dude. Who else? We can't just stop there. I mean, we have another minute and 8 seconds.
My name is Jason. I've got my mother here in town from Sioux City, Iowa visiting. We both had our struggles with addiction, and we're here celebrating that we're not at the moment.
Yeah, we'll celebrate that. Yeah, glad you guys are here.
I'm Kathy, and I'm glad there are more Iowans in the house.
Should we celebrate that? Okay, we'll celebrate that, Kathy. All right, anyone else? We got time for one more.
I'm Colin, and the sure sign of my recovery from severe childhood abuse is my ability to be loving, to love others,
Yeah.
and to tell them.
Yeah, we'll celebrate that. Colin, glad you're here, buddy. All right, thank you, Carrie and Sue. Do you want to join me up here? Because Tammy is at Shiloh's gymnastics meet. Should I say a word about that really quick?
Yes.
Okay, then I want to say a word about you. I think if I just read my text correctly, let me pull it up, y'all, so I don't lie to you. Shiloh had a gymnastics meet, state, and she took second in all around in 5 states. 2 first places and second in all around. Way to go, Shiloh! I love you, baby. Proud of you, girl. Yeah. Okay, here's the other thing you need to know. Sue here, pastor, United Methodist pastor up in Paonia, Colorado. She started a free in Paonia, Colorado. She is leaving. That's public, right? It is. Yes. Okay. I didn't want to break the news. She's leaving Paonia to go to Cortez, right? Yes. Cortez, Colorado, where she's going to serve as pastor there, and maybe even start another free there.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yep.
She's been doing some really good work.
Yep. And Ryan has been a great coach and mentor. Carrie has also been on my committee for helping out, and it's free is a big part of my call story. When I asked God, could I be a pastor in recovery, God answered by having Free be featured at church the next week. So thank you all for...
Isn't that cool? Yeah, we'll celebrate it. And almost done with your studies at ILEF.
About a year.
A year left.
Yes.
Okay, so next year, Josh Davidson here, he's in the third row back. Josh, raise your hand. He's going to be starting seminary with you, so make him feel at home, Sue.
You will love ILEF. It's a great place.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, shall we join our online people? You want to read the first one?
Certainly. From Mark Diamond Wonder, we have to cancel the last celebration. I want to share is that I'm celebrating 18 days with no nicotine.
We'll
Way to
celebrate
go.
that, Mark. Glad you're here, buddy. Melody says, celebrating my son's 120 days sober last weekend. Yeah, we'll celebrate that. Way to go, David. Glad y'all are joining us. Glad you're here, Melody. Oh, we only had 2 tonight.
It's quiet night.
Sorry, Sue. You
It's
could
good
have
thing
read
there's so
more.
many
but-
folks.
Yeah, all right. Thank you, Sue. You want me to take that from you? I'll put it on the couch. Well, it's always fun to celebrate with you all. Very important part of what we do here, to have God join with us in the celebrations and to root each other on, cheer for one another. So we're in the third and final week of this series called Who Am I Now? And tonight, tonight the theme is When Good Gets Dangerous.
Life doesn't ask permission. It just changes everything. One day you know who you are. Then suddenly, you don't. This is the in-between, where everything shifted, but you haven't caught up yet. If you've ever asked, who am I now? This is where we start digging.
Yeah, who am I now? It is not just a question for when everything falls apart, but it's also a question for when everything finally starts coming together. The truth is, we talk a lot about the hard transitions. In fact, we've done it in this series. Who are you now when it comes to you being in the midst of loss and pain and maybe even being uprooted in your life? But tonight I want to talk about what about the transition of the good? Like, what about when things start going right in your life? You get some healing in your life. Maybe you even got into recovery and you got clean and sober. Or as a loved one, you got into recovery to help you get better tools and be more centered and have more peace in your life. And things started going right. The chaos starts to leave. Relationships maybe even start to stabilize just a bit. And have you forgotten that this is the life you prayed for? I mean, this is the life that you thought you could never have, and now you're living it, and you fought hard for it. And did anyone ever warn you that this is a beautiful place to be, but it can also be a very dangerous place to be? Do you know the first time I tried to get sober? It was December 12th of 2011. My actual sobriety date when I got into recovery, January 7th of 2013. But the first time was December 12th of 2011. I thought I hit my bottom. I was miserable. The problem is I'm still holding on to my shovel. And I couldn't stop drinking, and so I heard about this crazy thing called Alcoholics Anonymous, something I never wanted to be a part of, but I went to a few meetings. I even did what they told me to do. I got a sponsor, and I even met with this sponsor a few times, and life was going good. Life was going so good for me that, at least on the outside, I mean, I was back in the gym, and I was dropping some LBs. I wasn't doing any inner work, but on the outside, things were good. And it was so good, I went to meet my sponsor up at the Panera in Littleton. And I walked in, we were going to read some of the big book together. And I walked in and I said, Tony, dude, I got some good news for you, dude. We don't need to meet anymore. And I thought he was going to be proud of me. And I said, listen, like, I know you're 5 years sober and you, for whatever reason, you still got to do this stuff. But, dude, I'm good. I got this. And when I said it, I believed it. I'm good. I got this. And I said, no, Tony, you don't understand, dude. It's been now 2 months, and that's a very long time. 2 months without a drink, and I'm feeling good. My life is starting to get better. We don't need to meet anymore. And he gave me that look. Y'all know that look. And I said, what, you think I'm going to drink again? And he says to me, well, Ryan, in my experience, and in my mind, I stopped him right there. F your experience, man. You don't know me. I'm a pastor. I'm strong. I got this. I know how to do this. I don't even crave a drink. I even told him the words. I said, Tony, I'm never going to drink again. And my life was going good. Things were going good, and it worked for 5 more months until the disease got me. And can I tell you all, nothing bad happened. Life was actually going good. We went up to Vail, Colorado to celebrate my wife's birthday. Decided I was going to get a little romantic. So I called the hotel before we got there. And I said, listen, just me and my wife are coming up. We're staying in your hotel. And, can you make things special, whatever you guys do? They made things special. They gave me a free gift. The problem is it was not free to me and it wasn't a gift to me. When we walked into the hotel room in Vail, Colorado to celebrate her birthday, well, they had a complimentary bottle of champagne. Next to that complimentary bottle of champagne, they had strawberries covered in chocolate. Now, I do not fault Tammy at all for this because she did not know what she knows now about this disease of addiction. She knows my disease very well now. But she says to me, she says, do you think you could have just one drink? And I said, honey, I don't see why not. I mean, it's been 5 months. I don't even crave it anymore. I'm older now. I'm more mature now. It's been a very long time. So I filled up the flute one time. Isn't that what they call them, flutes? I filled up that flute. Then I filled it up again. And again. And then somehow, I don't know how, I wound up at a bar in Vail. And then somehow, later in the night, I wound up at a liquor store. And I don't remember anything after that. But one drink turned into a dozen. And I stayed drunk and in chaos for a few more months until I got sober in early 2013. You see, who are you when life is good? When the chaos starts to settle, when you're feeling good and you maybe even get a little bit of money in your bank account. And listen, y'all, tonight I do not want to use fear tactics because I don't believe in fear tactics. I don't think God is about fear tactics. I don't think they're very effective, especially for people like us. But in the same breath, I will tell you, we must stay humble. And we have to be able to have this conversation that is detached from shame. But you do know you can fall hard even when life is good. And I hope you know this is more than just about drugs and drinking. I mean, think of every aspect in your life. You can fall when things are good. Do you know how many times I've heard the story of someone's marriage? And one of them says to me, Ryan, man, I don't know how it happened. I mean, things were actually pretty good with us, and we weren't in a major season of conflict. We weren't like arguing all the time. Things were good, but you do know, Ryan, things got a little boring in the marriage, and it's like, yeah, you do know you prayed for this life, but you know things got boring, and then at some point they go outside of the marriage. They go outside of the relationship to fill the gap. Things are good, you can fall. It happens with job promotions and starting businesses and businesses growing and flourishing. And you say, man, things are good and I'm finally getting more, and you slip into this thinking of telling yourself, I deserve more. And the problem is, if they would just see how much I'm worth, if they would see how much I'm worth, how worthy I am, then they would know that I deserve more, and I need to prove that I deserve more. And you start slipping into the old disease of more, and you can fall when things are good. Do you know, I've seen this story play out too many times in my life of people making it to the top, whatever a top is, and it's always the and then. Do you know, since the time I was a little boy, 5 years old, there was a man in my life that I admired. I looked up to him. He built a life that was worth living, and he started with nothing, and he built a life with discipline and faith and hard work. And then I'll never forget, he was a role model for me, and as a 20-something, early 20s, I came back home from college one weekend. And there we were floating on a raft in the lake next to our dock, and we're looking up at the home, and at the dock there's a boat and there's jet skis, and I'll never forget what he said to me. He got this big grin on his face, and he put his arms up on the raft, and he says, "Ryan, look at what I've built." And I thought, you have changed. And I didn't have the words to articulate it in my early 20s, but I thought, man, you have changed. You would have never said something like that in the past. You always made it about other people and serving other people. You were always a man of deep gratitude for what God has done in you and through you, and now it's, look at what I've built. And then for the next few years, I watched him get more stuff and more money and more notoriety. And listen, y'all, there's nothing bad with those things. They're not bad in and of themselves. It's always your relationship to those things. But I watched him get more. And then I watched this thing happen where he gave up everything meaningful in his life. He gave up his values, his faith. He gave up serving people. He gave up relationships, family relationships, including me. And it was very difficult to admit. It took me some time to admit this. He was once a North Star for me, and now he's a South Star. And it took a long time to admit, I do not want what he has. It's the pain of a North Star becoming a South Star. You probably have this in your life. And y'all, I tell you this story to also say to you, I have to be very careful not to say, to be so arrogant as to say, I will never do that. Oh, I'll never do that. And I know that's the great temptation. I still have people in my life that would love for me to say, I will never drink again. It would make them feel better. It would give them comfort. And I can't say it. I know the temptation is to say, I will never do that. But the truth is, I'm not exempt from falling, and neither are you. Do you know I try in my life to never say never, because, man, that thing comes back to bite me all the time. Do you know I said out loud, I said the words, we were living in Denver, and I said, honey, we are never going to live. We can live anywhere in the Denver area, but we're never going to live in Highlands Ranch, Colorado, because that's like the yuppie suburbs. We ain't doing that. Ryan, don't do that. Well, not too long after that, the bishop calls me and says, guess what? We got an appointment for you. You're going to serve a church in Highlands Ranch, Colorado. The first question that was asked to me, and I'm not making this up, she says to me, so are you going to pitch your tent here? And the message was very clear to me. Yes, we are moving to Highlands Ranch. Do you know what else I said I would never do? I said I will never drive a minivan. I got tattoos. I'm too cool for that. I can't drive a minivan. Well, 2 years later, we started having some more kids, and all of a sudden we bought a minivan. We don't have it anymore, but I did drive it for a while, and it was actually kind of cool. Do you know, I said to myself, I said the words out loud, watching my brother battle this disease of addiction and seeing the pain and the destruction that was being caused, I said, I will never be like him. And then when he died of this disease of addiction, I said to people out loud, I will never be like him. And I believed it. The problem is, somewhere along the way, I found the bottle, and it helped me deal with this grief. The problem is, somewhere along the way, I found the bottle, and it helped calm my mind. And then what I had to realize was I actually really love the effects produced by alcohol and other mind-altering substances. And it was never supposed to be me. And then I said the words out loud. No one, when I got into recovery, no one is ever going to find out that I was a drunk pastor. No one's going to find this stuff out, man. This is a part of my story I don't ever want to talk about. Certainly never going to talk about it publicly. And then, well, you see, the recovery mindset gives us a daily reprieve if we stay spiritually connected. It gives us the idea of, but for the grace of God, there go I, one day at a time. And I would tell you, we must stay humble. And I don't want to define that word for you. I want you to think about tonight, what does humility in your life look like? Do you know there's a letter in the New Testament, it's called 1 Corinthians, which means there's also a 2 Corinthians. 1 Corinthians, found in the New Testament, was written by the Apostle Paul to the church in the city called Corinth. What Paul would do is he would travel around, he would start a church or start a movement, then he would leave that city and go to another city to start another movement, and he stayed in touch with them, he stayed in communication through writing them letters. So these people in Corinth, they were his friends, man. He knew these people well, he loved these people, but he heard some ways they were starting to live, some ways they were starting to get off the path. They were saying things like, we have freedom now. And we know the truth now, and we're good, and we got this. And they started pushing their freedom into some very dangerous territory. They were starting to making compromises along the way. And Paul does something very interesting in this letter. You can read it later when you get home tonight, the whole letter of 1 Corinthians. What he does is he takes them back to the earliest part of their story. We talked a little bit about it last week. He takes them back to their earliest part of their story and says, don't you guys remember? Don't you remember the story of your people, your ancestors? And don't you remember the Exodus? I mean, your people were in slavery in Egypt under Pharaoh, and they were crying out. They were miserable. God hears their cries, and then God sends rescue, and God rescues them, guides them through the wilderness towards the promised land, and they experienced miracles with God. They had profound spiritual experiences along the way. Don't you remember? They were free. But then they started making some compromises, and they fell hard, and they lost trust in God. And Paul is saying to them, man, these are examples, but you do not have to repeat this example. This does not have to be your story. Then he drops this line on them. Check it out. 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 12. If you think you are standing strong, be careful not to fall. Imagine them protesting. No, Paul, you got to understand, man, that's never going to be us. Man, I'm never going to drink again. That's never going to be us. And that's exactly when it becomes you. And Paul isn't trying to scare them. He's reminding them to stay humble. Don't forget your story. Yes, you are free, totally free, but do you remember where you've come from? If you think you are standing strong, be careful not to fall. And check it out, isn't it interesting? Because it's not, if you think you are weak, be careful not to fall. If you think things aren't going well in your life, they're not going the way you want them to go, be careful not to fall. It's not, if you think your life is really hard right now and you're in a difficult season, be careful not to fall. No, it's, if you think you are standing strong, be careful not to fall. Paul is not talking to people who are struggling. He's talking to people who think they're past struggling. And by the way, what's a first century letter written to people across the world have to do with us today? Well, I would tell you it has everything to do with us, especially here. Because as I look around this room, and some of you online, you know what it's like. You have been totally set free. You have tasted recovery, and you have found that it is good. You've encountered the God of rescue when you were at your bottom, crying out to God knows what you were crying out to. You encountered the God who led you into recovery. You saw miracles happen along the way. You saw God doing for you what you could not do for yourself. You have profound spiritual experiences that you could tell us about in great detail. And you would say now, I'm in a good place. And I would say to you, yes, and stay humble. Because you do know the truth is, nobody wakes up one day and decides to just burn down their life. I mean, nobody wakes up and says, man, you know what I'm going to do today? I'm going to burn it all down in one day. No one does that. Think about it. It's slow. It's quiet. It's almost unnoticeable. And I think it's what happened when your mind tries to subtly trick you into thinking, I don't need the things that got me here. I think it happens one compromise at a time. It's when your mind tries to tell you, man, I don't really need community anymore. Well, I don't need those meetings anymore. I mean, they were good. It was helpful when I was hurting, but now I'm not hurting. And man, I don't really need those spiritual practices anymore. I mean, oh, yeah, sure, those things were good to get me through the tough times, but I'm not in tough times anymore. I don't really need God anymore. I mean, yeah, sure, let me admit, God was good when I was at the bottom, but now I'm on top, whatever the top is, and don't abandon the things that got you here. If you think you are standing strong, be careful not to fall. And by the way, how do we be careful not to fall? I'll close with this. Shift your self-confidence into a God confidence. And you say, oh, Ryan, that kind of sounds hokey spiritual. Is that just something pastors say? You know, I love the way the Message puts it. The Message is a translation of the scriptures written by Eugene Peterson. He's a very good theologian, very good scholar. He took the scriptures and he translated them into our vernacular, like everyday language that we use. And here's that same verse, 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 12, the same one. In the Message, it says this: don't be so naive and self-confident. You're not exempt. You could fall flat on your face as easily as anyone else. Forget about self-confidence. It's useless. Cultivate God confidence. And y'all, it's not that self-confidence is a bad thing. In fact, it can be a good thing. Some of us maybe need more of it. But if it's the thing you are relying on, it is totally useless. Self-confidence will always be the thing that tries to pull you away from gratitude. You'll start finding yourself saying things like, look what I've built. God confidence always pulls you towards gratitude because you know where you came from. You know what you're capable of. Self-confidence says, look at me. Look at what I've done. I got this. God confidence says, I didn't get here on my own, so I won't continue on my own. But today, we got this. Self-confidence says, I'm past that. God confidence says, I'm not above that. Do you know when I was about 6 months sober and actually into recovery, and there is a difference there. When I was about 6 months sober, I was meeting with my sponsor, sitting at his kitchen table, 9 o'clock at night, because he'd get his kids to bed, then he would invite me over and we'd sit in his dining room and do some real inner work. And man, that thing happened again. When I was 6 months sober, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling inner good this time too. I'm feeling good all around. And I don't know why I said it, but the words, they just slipped out of my mouth. I said, I'm feeling so good. I'm so glad I'm sober. And I'm so glad I'm never going to drink again. And I'll never forget what he said to me. He said, Ryan, I suggest, and whenever they say that, it took me a while to learn this. When they suggest, it's their polite way of correcting you. Ryan, I suggest you stop saying that. He said, yeah, the truth is, you went to a meeting this morning. You met with your sponsor today, doing it now. He said, today, this was profound, today you are spiritually connected. This is the same man who 5 months before that told me, Ryan, you have to understand you are spiritually disconnected. And that was the scariest words I'd ever heard as an alcoholic, battling addiction, and being a pastor. He said, but today you're spiritually connected. You have these practices. You went to a meeting, you're meeting with your sponsor, and today you're not likely to pick up a drink. And I thought this is a good thing because there's only 2 hours left in this day. He said, when you get home tonight and you go to bed, be sure you thank God for keeping you sober. And then tomorrow, you get to do it all over again. What was he saying to me? Words I needed to hear. What was he saying? Don't be so naive and self-confident. You're not exempt. You could fall flat on your face as easily as anyone else. Forget about self-confidence. It's useless. Cultivate God confidence. Today, life is good. Today. I can tell you I'm not in any major life transitions. Today, I'm not in one of those hard seasons, and we all have the hard seasons. The hard comes and goes. Today, life is good. I have a 20, almost 21-year marriage that I enjoy. And I know where we've come from. I know where I came from. Today, we get to stand in this place called free. And Tammy, my wife, and I got to create the thing that we wanted to see in the world. And I know where I came from. Today, a profound thing happened. Do you know all 4 of my kids said the words, "I love you too, Poppy, and I know where I've come from." Today, I have friends that I can be honest with and community I get to walk with, and I know where I've come from. Today, I have a God who reminds me on a very regular basis when I forget. This God reminds me on a regular basis, "Ryan, you are worthy of love and belonging," and I know where I've come from. As a 5-year-old boy, I battled this feeling of never feeling like I belong, never feeling like I was worthy of love and belonging. I know where I've come from. And today I'm clean and sober, and my life isn't filled with chaos. And thank you, God, for my sobriety. And it's all just a gift. And who are you when life gets good? Will you stay humble? Because you staying free has everything to do with that. So who am I now? Well, I'm still the one who needs God. I'm still the one who needs people. But for the grace of God, there go I. And who are you when life gets good? So here's what we'll do. We'll take a moment and reflect. I want you to reflect on that question. Who are you now? Who will you be when life is good? This song is by an artist, a new artist, newer to me at least, Cameron Whitcomb. Anyone know him? Cameron Whitcomb. He wrote a great song called Options, and today you have some options. You know where you came from. Take a moment, reflect. It's a good one, isn't it? Colin, you knew that song, huh? Yeah, I think I sent it to you. You did? You did? A couple people sent me that song. I've been holding on to it, waiting for the perfect night to play it. It's a good one, very good one. All right, y'all, if you're new with us, you should know that every Saturday night, from the very beginning of Free's history, well, we've had a guest storyteller to join us up in the living room, and I can't wait for you to meet Pam Lanhart, all the way from Minnesota. We don't have a resentment towards Minnesota right now, but we don't like the Timberwolves. Nuggets, you got to pull through tonight, man. All right, Pam is, she's got a story with all this stuff. She's the loved one of a son who started battling addiction at a very early age. She's now the founder and executive director of Thrive, Family Recovery Resources. Did I say it right? Family Recovery Resources. She is also the co-producer and co-director of the film that will be premiering here tomorrow. So I hope y'all come and help me welcome my friend Pam into the living room. Pam, thank you for joining us all the way from Minnesota.
It is an honor to be here, but also such an encouragement tonight.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing what you shared.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. I'm glad you're here. I want people to hear some of your personal story, then some of why are you doing this work that you do today, which is all part of your story. And then I want you to tell us a little bit about the film and what we should expect tomorrow, or maybe the highlights of what it was like to produce this. But let's start with, so your son Jake battled this disease of addiction starting at an early age.
Yeah, my story actually starts earlier than that because I am the child of two parents who struggle with addiction. And so I loved your message tonight because we checked all the boxes, right?
Yeah.
We tried to do everything possible to prevent our children from adopting that legacy, so to speak. And Jake started using when he was about 11. So his journey was a decade of battling with a very young person, and that's a whole different kind of situation in most cases because there's a lot of things that you can't do. You know, you have to learn, and one of the things that we talk a lot about in the documentary is loving well, which is a coined term that I started with this balance of he was in our home, we wanted to stay influential with him, but we also needed to set boundaries and allow for those natural consequences. So it was a journey, and I consider myself a person in recovery from all of that, right? From the impact of my parents and that journey. I have 3 siblings that are in recovery. I have, many family members.
Yeah.
So
you started setting boundaries and doing everything you knew to do, doing your best, loving well. What was the hardest part about that?
everything.
Everything.
Everything. You know, I think initially, for most of us, if we have a family member that's struggling, we do what we think is the right thing to do. And a lot of times we contribute to the conflict, the chaos in our home. And the hardest thing was moving from a place of trying to control, manipulate, demand, all the things that you have probably all done, to a place of acceptance and not judgment. And we got to this place where we just really started to meet Jake where he was at, which repaired our relationship. And so moving from that place of reactive, you know, just I want to respond in a way that is more reactive versus I'm going to be intentional.
Yeah. So then things, he passed in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love for people to hear, one, how did you get through? And were there moments where you felt like a failure, or recovery doesn't work, or man, we did this thing right, we were staying connected, we were working our recovery even as loved ones, and it didn't work? Did you ever have moments that you felt that?
Of course. And Jake was living in Lakewood, Colorado when he passed away. So the 23rd, just the other day, was 4.5 years since he passed. And the message tonight was so perfect because we were doing well. We were a family in recovery until we weren't. And so how do you get through that? And for us, for me personally, it was my personal recovery. When you're in recovery, you have to adopt certain practices. And for me, those practices were, establishing a routine, drinking water, eating healthy, moving my body, relying on my community. I think that's a really big one. When we do feel like a failure, or we do make a mistake, or we fall, the first thing we do is isolate. The first thing we do is step back from community. And in recovery, you lean into that community. And we had a sense of purpose. We had many things that we had done in our life. Again, as a family member, oftentimes you can, everything about your life is trying to help your loved one get well.
Yeah.
And we had moved away from that. I mean, we loved Jake. We had reconciled the fact that he maybe wouldn't make it out. And we have passions and a mission and a sense of purpose before, during, and after. And those things were things that really helped us.
So when did you start Thrive?
That was in 2016.
2016.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you see in your experience? Because I know, how many families have you worked with?
Thousands.
Thousands of families.
Thousands, yeah.
So people just like you who are watching their loved one battle and probably not knowing what to do, looking for, just help me make it through today.
Right.
Give me something that's going to make this okay. What do you think, what's the number one thing they struggle with? Or what's a couple of things that always come to the top for them?
Well, I think the narratives of it's my fault.
Yeah.
Right? And you asked that question earlier, which was, did you ever, think about that this maybe was a failure on your part? And as a parent especially, we think that we did something wrong, that it was our fault. And I will tell you something that when Jake died, one of the things I wrote in my journal was, had I broke him so badly that he was unfixable. And I think all parents go through that. They think about how influential we are in our children's life, and how we, wake up with a baby in our hands and we imagine a future for them, and the grief of having to deal with all the things that come with loving someone with substance use is really, really difficult. And we can't manage that without rethinking everything that we think about our lives. Yeah. We have to change the narratives.
Yeah, that can be very difficult work.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us a little bit about why this film? What inspired you to make a film?
Yeah. Well, Kathy Wren and Shelley Young are here tonight, and we had met years ago in the circles of family members that have children that were struggling. We all ironically have boys. And we really wanted to create a documentary that showed the gifts of recovery as a family. So we know that a loved one has to activate their recovery, and family members can do the same thing. And we wanted to show families that actually did it together. Sometimes we hear these messages of, that's their recovery and stay in your lane, but these families work together, learn to move through this in a way that was kind and compassionate and loving, and then the joy of that and the gifts that they had got back. We see a lot of stories that start with death, right? And we wanted to show stories that celebrated life.
Yeah.
And this is such an uplifting documentary. And I think if you come tomorrow, please come. You'll be really encouraged by these stories.
Yeah, and some of the folks in the film will be here, and you're going to do like a question and answer thing afterwards.
Yeah, so there's a few of us that are here from out of state, and then one of the families that's featured in the documentary are two sisters from right here in Littleton.
Yeah.
And so they're going to be here tomorrow and sharing their story.
So what was it like? Was this a new thing for you to just kind of step in and say, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to be a filmmaker. How'd you just step into that?
Well, I personally am a shoot first, aim later kind of girl.
It's a good way to live.
So I'm like, it's same with starting the organization. It was like, I'm just going to go for it. And for me personally, with my faith, I know God has just opened doors, led me into that path. And I can't take credit. Kathy Wren was the one who came to us and said, I really want to do this film. And I think Shelley had been on her mind for a really long time. And it was just an amazing learning process and the opportunity to work with such a talented team.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was fun and exciting.
So I know we'll learn more tomorrow through watching the film than having the Q&A time with you. But what's one thing you would say to, we have lots of family members here, lots of loved ones who put themselves in the category of the loved one. Maybe you're not the addict or the alcoholic, but you have someone in your life that you love and maybe watching online tonight too. What is the one piece of hope you give? And let me even make it a bit more specific. Thursday we did a funeral here, a family who lost their 27-year-old boy due to this brutal disease of addiction. And I try to always remind family members that your love for them was good enough. It was good, like you did the best you could, and your love truly was good enough. Of course you made mistakes, but it was good enough. It's a journey I had to go on with my brother and his death. To the ones that maybe are holding on to shame and guilt over some of the things they did or didn't do, or they're still in the midst of this battle, what would you leave them with?
I've been thinking about this, and one of the things I do want to say as someone who has worked through that grief and gone through that is we don't have the power of life and death, but we have the ability to live our lives, even in the middle of death, right? So, and for me, that's a God thing. That's the God that I believe in loved my son radically. He loves me radically. And my legacy is to show up and to honor God with everything that I do, and that's the way I can honor my son.
Yeah, beautiful. And you're going to stick around tonight and kind of hang out because you got to be with us next service. And at the end of that service, I think the tech team's going to try to put the game on the big screen so we can watch the end of the Nuggets beating the Timberwolves.
Go Wolves!
Pam Lanhart, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being with us, Pam. Thank you so much. Yeah, I can take that from you. Who am I giving this one to? Oh, Sue. Sue. Well, the way we close down here on a Saturday night is similar to how we begin. We begin with what we call celebrations. We lift up the good. And then we close with heartaches. So it's like the opposite of celebrations. It's the heavy things that you're carrying, the burdens that you're carrying. And maybe you haven't put words to that yet. Maybe you've never asked for help with this thing that you're carrying, and you try to carry it alone, and then you find out that you suck at carrying it alone, and you don't have to. It's why you have community surrounding you, and we have a God who hears the cries of the people. So that's what this time is for. If you're joining us online, drop your heartache in the YouTube comments or the Facebook comments, and we'll join with you there. If you're here in house, just raise up your hand. If you need some prayer, some encouragement, some lifting up, that's what this time is for. Carrie has a mic on this side. Sue has one on this side. And this 3 minutes is yours.
Hi, I'm Lauren. Jess is a big part of our community, and she is battling cancer right now. She just got over RSV, and then she just had to go to the hospital last night, and she now has pneumonia on top of her cancer and going through chemo, so she's not feeling very well. Just prayers for her.
Continued prayers for Jess. Thank you for that, Lauren.
My name's David, and about 14 years ago, I met a good friend in the room at AA, and I just found out he passed away a couple days ago. Leaves behind a 17-year-old son, just like same age as my son, and just hits hard. Prayers for him.
Yeah, prayers for his family and friends and everyone who loved him. Yeah, thank you, David.
Hi, I'm Liz. My boyfriend's brother-in-law is in the hospital now. He's been struggling with this disease pretty bad for the past 10, 12, but it's gotten really bad. He needs a new liver. And in addition to praying for him to get that gift, I'm praying for the gift that he gets the gift to fight this, because I don't think he has it right now. So, and he's got kids. So, yeah. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Lifting him up tonight.
Hey, my name is John Beach. I just left kind of a dumpster fire in Central America, and I just wanted to thank my good friend Jamie Amat for supporting me.
All right. Glad you're here. Almost this entire row shared. Is there anything else from this row? Others?
Hi, my name's Ray. I need prayers again. I lost 2 more friends this week, man. It's been rough lately. So prayers for their families also.
Yeah. Prayers for the families, Ray, and prayers for you, man. I know you're constantly on the front lines of this stuff. And you're a good one to have on the front lines. Prayers for you, brother.
And my name is Mark, and my cousin Sam, who's the same age as myself, died on Monday. Not from this addiction or anything like that, but he dropped dead. We're about the same age. And just prayers for my cousin, his mom, who really needs it right now, because now I'm taking on the role of seeing her. And the story was so amazing this evening. I would like to purchase 5 tickets and give them to anybody who cannot afford to be here and give away scholarships tonight.
Thank you, Mark.
Want to see you afterwards.
Talk to Mark afterwards. He has 5 tickets. Thank you, buddy.
Hi, my name is Stephanie. I just wanted to have people pray for all the friends and family that we have that are still struggling with addiction and who aren't ready to come out.
Yeah. Always praying for them. Thank you for lifting them up tonight. Is that it? Are we out of time? Carrie, do you want to join me up here? You would love to join me up here is what you meant to say. Thank you, Carrie, for being with us this evening. You see what happens when Tammy's not here? She just screwed the whole thing up by not being here tonight. Yeah. No, she didn't. It's good. It's good to have you here, Carrie. We got to keep it real simple. You read the first one, then I do it. Are you ready for this? Sure. All right.
All right, Jazz. My dad, Roberto, is currently battling the last stages of his life. Cancer has taken over him, and I'm just asking for prayers to send him off in his walk with God with comfort, love, and peace. Thank you.
Yeah, prayers for you, brother. Prayers for the situation, your family. MJ says, prayers for my grandson, Drayden. May he find his path in life. Praying for Drayden tonight, MJ. Glad you're with us. And Been praying for him for a long time. Thank you, Carrie, for joining me up here. Well, if you've been impacted by the mission here of breaking the silence of addiction, well, you should know that we are funded by you, the people. Thank you for those of you that have made giving a practice in your life. And I realize for many of you it's a sacrificial practice. You didn't have it before, and you have it now. And for many of you, it's you've given things up to give. And I just always want you to know how grateful we are, that it's a big deal to us here. When many hands even give a little, it makes a big difference here. Thank you for being a part of it. If you want to donate to free, there's a few different ways you can do it. You can download the app. It's free to download. Free Recovery Community. All of our content's on this app. There's a giving button. You can give one time or set it up to be recurring, to give monthly or weekly. You can do the same thing on the website, freerecoverycommunity.com. Hit the giving button. Or for those of you in-house, there are giving boxes just outside each set of doors here. The back set of doors and the front set of doors. For those of you that still carry around things like cash and check. Is that any of you? I mean, we still take that stuff around here. And the Kind Kiosk. The Kind Kiosk is just outside these doors. It's on your right. It's the one tippy tap system. It's a fun, easy, safe way to give. If you want to hit that on your way out, we're really grateful for your giving here. Again, truly, it makes a difference. So thank you for being a part of it. Shall we go out with a prayer? Yeah, let's do it. I would invite you to just open up the hands. Again, there's no magic in it. It's just a posture of openness. Maybe tonight you're going to stay open to staying connected. Even when shit's not falling apart. Life is okay right now for some of you, and you're going to still show up and stay connected, still welcome God and invite God into your life, into daily practices. And you're just going to breathe. And as you take a breath, you remember where you came from. You remember that God is always with you. And you remember that it's all just a gift. That breath and the one you just took and the one you're about to take, it's all a gift. And if you don't know the St. Francis prayer, well, it's a beautiful prayer and it's on your screen. We'll pray it together. It goes like this. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. O divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. Amen. Grace and peace to you. See you next time, tomorrow.